Hello. Today I'm going to discuss nighttime gang stalking operations. The nighttime gang stalking crews are different from daytime, as the objective of nighttime gang stalkers is to physically affect the targeted individual somehow and to telepathically program the targeted individual. During nighttime, the gang stalking operations will try to approach the TI particularly around 2 to 4 a.m. For our targeted individual that sleeps during the nighttime. 2 to 4 a.m. is when people are the most tired during their daily routine, and there's least amount of activity people have during the early morning hours. So that's the favorite hours for the gang stalker at first. Later on, if the target individual stays at the same location and all the circumstances stay the same, the gang stalkers will try to affect the targeted individual at an earlier time if they feel they can get away with it. Because then if the gang stalkers can get to the TI and do whatever they want to do with them in the earlier part of the night, that lets them leave earlier and do their own thing. So it's going to depend on what the gang stalkers want to do to you and what the circumstances are that for your surroundings. The gang stalkers will try to get in your sleeping room through the door, first of all, and if they can't do that, well, then they'll get through a window or the ceiling. And when they enter and leave, they never want to leave obvious evidence, unless it's maybe something that I will call a calling card, something that's evidence to them, to you from the gang stalker, but it's evidence only the target individual will understand. Like they left something close to you on your bed, or they moved something around your room while you're sleeping. You know, the gaslighting stuff people call, moving things around your room that only you would know the significance of it. And the gang stalkers like to do that. It's called leaving a calling card. They like to do that to shake the TI up and make them scared. Even if they don't do anything to the TI, they still want to move stuff around. They'll let the targeted individual know that the gang stalkers were there in their room while they're sleeping. Now, what you can do to keep your doors fastened, a normal lock won't do it. What you're going to have to do for a door is, what I like to do is use wood screws to keep a door in place. Even if you have a steel door, you can use wood screws. What you would do is use the screw between the door frame and the door, and if you just screw it in, even on a steel door, that'll usually hold it in place. And you can test that yourself to see if it works, and it usually does. If there's too much gap and you have wood screws, if you have a wood door, well, then you can just screw through the door. It takes a little bit of effort, particularly the first time. You screw through the door into the door frame, and you actually use a wood screw to screw the door to the door frame, and then they can't get through that. But if you do have a wood door, what the gang stalkers will like to do is try to flex the wood door enough so if they can get themselves, or if they can't get themselves, they can use get that like rotor-rooter snake through, that little extendable snake they'll use to affect the TI while they're sleeping. And so you want to make sure that if you have a wood door and you're able to screw it shut or bolt it shut somehow, that you make sure that at least a foot or two above the floor the door is fastened, 1 or 2 feet above the door. No more, no higher than that, because you'd be surprised just how much they can flex a wood door to get through, or to get a tool through. So you want to make sure that the doors are fastened shut, screwed shut. Don't worry about using screws. It's okay. You can still, if you need to run out of the room, you can still. It only takes less than a minute to unscrew the door so you can get out. So it's not that difficult. And you can also use um, duct tape, particularly once you've locked up your room well enough. You can use duct tape to help keep things closed, and also you can use duct tape around suspected points of entry just to see if they're gonna affect the tape somehow once they, enter and leave a room. Duct tape's one of those things that it leaves a lot of evidence. Once duct tape has been fastened, if it's been unfastened and refastened, you can usually tell, and it's a great device for forensic observation. So you can use duct tape around areas that you think might be a security risk. You're not sure before you want to invest time and money to secure something. You want to see if it's actually a port of entry for the gang stalkers. So you can use duct tape, and you can get a lot of use out of duct tape for both security and for to see if there's a port of entry. You put tape around a window. You don't know for sure they're getting through a window or door. You put tape there, duct tape, and that lets you know later if they're getting through it, because the duct tape will be modified somehow, maybe completely unfastened. So, and also if you have ports of entry, like a door or a window or a wall or a ceiling or something that you think is giving access to you while you're sleeping, which is the most critical issue here, is your protection while you're sleeping. What you can do is use like clear plastic sheets, like rolled plastic sheet that you would use to, for like a temporary window or to cover a table or for multiple uses. Use that. You can take a whole window, cut out a piece of plastic, sheet plastic that'll cover the whole window, duct tape 360 degrees around that window, the whole window, duct tape around it, and you've essentially stopped any use of that window. And if there is any manipulation, if you closely look at the window afterwards, it'll show evidence of manipulation. And so what you can also do is use duct tape to cover gaps around doors, because gang stalkers like to take that Roto-Rooter extendable snake device, which they'll use to enter a room. It's about a quarter-inch diameter. They'll use it to enter a room and to, move things around, spray people, grab things, etc. Well, you can put duct tape around they like to go under doors, and you can use duct tape between a door and the floor, and you can stop that. They really don't like to gang stalkers do not like to mess with duct tape if they can avoid it. And so it might be a good idea to liberally use duct tape, especially until you get the hang of how the gang stalkers work. Because what I'm talking about is real. I've been dealing with this for many years, 8 years, and there's not, radio frequency, directed energy weapons, and all this nonsense. It's just boots on the ground. As far as physical manipulation is, it's just boots on the ground and moving, physical entry, things like that. And you'd be surprised at how sneaky that these gang stalkers can be. These nighttime operation gang stalkers are completely different than daytime. They're very small. They're more intelligent. They're more resourceful. They're a much more formidable foe, and you have to be prepared to deal with these people. And also for extra security is you want to run cameras. I read, first of all, no wireless on your computer. Any computer that a targeted individual uses, particularly for anything security based, has to be completely no wireless. I mean, none. There can't be even a wireless module. If you have a laptop, you have to physically remove the wireless module. You can't just deselect it by software or the operating system. because they still can manipulate it even when the computer software has totally gets disengaged. They can still program the computer and contact it through the wireless module. So you have to remove the wireless modules from your laptop if you're using a laptop, or if you're using a MTX box, a standard computer, an old school style desktop. Make sure there's no wireless capability on it, no wireless card, and then you can go ahead and use it for security. Use the cameras on it. If you have to use light, well then use light. But if you can get away, if you can use infrared for nighttime, well then you want to use that so you can get some more undisturbed sleep. And you want to make sure your cameras that are on the TI are very difficult to manipulate, and it shows all around the bed, above the TI, below the TI, and on as much as the sides of the TI, because you don't want to give the gang stalkers an avenue. They're real good at detecting where the camera lens is focusing on and where its field of view is. They're real good at that. So you don't want to give them, you don't want to give the gang stalkers even an inch. You don't want to give them anything. But you have to be a little bit resourceful and think about things, and you have to spend time on it. During the daytime, when you're wide awake and you're thinking well, you have to spend time on your nighttime security. You have to plan for it, you have to organize it, you have to fabricate, you have to program and fabricate your nighttime security and test it during the daytime to make sure it's working right, so that when nighttime comes, you implement, you activate your nighttime security, and it works perfect. And then in the daytime, you have to do a forensic check. You go around where you have your areas of entry. You have to make sure that they have been tampered with. If they are tampered, what the best thing you can do is you take pictures. I mean, this might seem a little extreme, but this is an extreme situation, and you have to deal with it in an extreme manner. Take pictures every night of your security setups, your ports of entry, your doors or windows, and your ceilings, and anything else. Take pictures of it, and then the next morning compare it to the pictures you took the night before, to make sure that to see if there's been any tampering whatsoever. And ceilings are important. They like to get through ceilings. I mean, of course, they want to get through a door or window if they can, but if they can't do any of that, they're going to go through a ceiling. And ceilings are actually a big security a liability for the targeted individual. So what you want to do is make sure that your ceiling, the best ceiling in the world, is one that's 100% solid, no gaps. You know, there's no way they can get through it. That's what you want, but sometimes you can't get that. And what you could do is you could actually take plastic or a tarp and completely cover the ceiling and make it tamper-proof, so that a security liability of a ceiling can become tamper-proof. If that's all you have, well then you can do it. You can use it by a tarp, and use a tarp, completely tape it, seal it all the way around. Use 2 tarps if you have to make sure it's going to work. But you can do it. It just takes a little bit of effort. And you will find that if you think that you're getting direct energy weapons and all this stuff, if you follow the security implementations that I'm discussing here, you'll find that all of a sudden you're not having these problems when you wake up in the morning. You're not having all these issues. Now what will happen is that if you're really good at this and you're able to completely keep the gang stalkers out of all the ports of entry to your room, all the doors, out of the windows, out of the ceiling, out of the wall, if you're good at this and you're able to keep them out, well then the last thing they can do is try to gas you. I'm serious. They've done it to me numerous times. When they just had to give up, they couldn't get to me, they tried gassing me. And that's a different issue. Dealing with when they start gassing you, that's a different thing. If you're in a high traffic area and there's always people around whenever you sleep, well then that's going to be good for you, for your security. But if you're in an isolated area and the gang stalkers have a free reign when the lights go out and you go to sleep, there's no one protecting you, there's no witnesses, well then that's when you have to implement all these security measures that I'm discussing. And it can be done, but as far as the gas goes, you can try different things on that. I don't have too many remedies at the moment, but other than completely sealing the room. But they can still use gas under pressure, to try to get through cracks around a window, even a window that's sealed with plastic. They can still put pressurized gas with a nauseous gas, and they've done it to me before. And you can deal with it, but it takes a lot of effort. But anyway, these are some helpful advice for the nighttime gang stalking operations. This is how to deal with, for a target individual, how to effectively deal with the nighttime gang stalkers. And anyway, hope this helps you. Thank you.